hey, if you're checking out this video, you should check out part 1. The Last Jedi, the dark side, right?
Dark side.
Dark side, because this time we're going to be critical. No, last time we were critical. This time we're going to be telling what we like about it. So go check that out first. Okay, so you've got to know this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ba 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 da ba ba da.
Da 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 da.
Thank you, and welcome to Quite Contrary, the only show that's mathematically designed to disagree with you. I'm Zach Nanimus.
Johnny Dim.
And today we are going to be doing the second part of our Last Jedi extravaganza. Once again, this film has been so polarizing that we couldn't definitively say that audience liked it, disliked it in one particular way, because it gets like about a 50%, which normally we would say, okay, that's a failure, but it's so polarizing.
The critics loved it, though.
The critics did like it, and audiences were about a 64 on it. We went ahead and decided to do 2 videos on it, and this is Star Wars The Last Jedi, The Light Side. So here's what rocked about it. Number 1, the Final Showdown. So, any fan of the movie, or probably anybody in America at this point, probably knows that somewhere in the movie, and now that we've seen the movie, we know it's one of the last scenes in the movie, we have a Hoth-like planet. And so we were afraid that this was going to be a true rehash of The Empire Strikes Back. But fortunately, that's not what we got. We got a pretty interesting planet with a very unique scene. Sure, there are still people entrenched, and there are still AT-ATs walking down about to destroy some rebels, and that's fine. But where the last scene in the movie really stands out has got to be the conflict resolution. How they actually stop the First Order, and how they do it is with the help of none other than the Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker. This is my favorite sequence in the movie.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it. Mm-hmm. And it's because not only is it a spectacle, but it's also so well thought out and staged so perfectly. One of the things that I always thought was, well, I don't know. I don't think it's weird in retrospect, but it's interesting to see how these characters like Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader even were expected to sort of relate to them in specific ways. But when you do that, you kind of forget that they are these monsters. You know, Rogue One was really good at showing off the power of the Force with the last sequence with Darth Vader. So when Luke Skywalker hits the scene and is staring down a pretty good contagion? Is that what?
Contention?
Contention? I don't know. Something in. A pretty good military force, and Kylo Ren is like, fire all weapons on him right now. You completely understand why. Because when the dust settles, he is untouched. And you just remember what the power of the Force can really do. But of course, we usually do spoilers in these.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Luke was a Force ghost the whole time. He was just projecting himself from, all the way across the galaxy, because it seems like all the planets are always on the other side of the galaxy, no matter where you are.
Yeah, a twist many of us didn't see coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So it turns out he's just a Force projection, and he gets into a lightsaber fight with Kylo Ren, and they never touch sabers. They never touch one another this whole time. And so when you realize that he was a projection the whole time, you're like, oh yeah, that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Now, this is interesting. My mother, weirdly enough, I don't know if that's weird, but my mother pointed this out. I missed this, is that they kind of made a big deal about it being like a red salty planet.
Right.
And so everybody had like these red tracks in the salt. Luke doesn't leave any.
Yeah.
And it's just another example of how well this was orchestrated, how much time and thought was put into what was a fabulous sequence. One thing about this scene is that I know it would be awesome to be a Jedi for a lot of reasons, but specifically having this ability made me incredibly envious. Because if I had the ability to be a Force projection, I would use it to get out of stuff all the time.
Oh, looks like the pizza's here. You're splitting this one with me, so you got cash on you?
Amazing. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
You're an asshole. Number 2, Yoda.
I met him in a swamp down in Dagobah, where it bubbles all the time like a giant carbonated soda.
So another surprise we got in this movie was actually the appearance of Yoda. Which, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about expecting. And there was something that was very noticeable about Yoda in this movie. And that's he's actually, even though he's a ghost projection, force projection, whatever, force ghost?
He's a force ghost.
Force ghost. He's a force ghost. But he's a puppet force ghost, which was actually kind of a pleasant surprise. I didn't realize how much I wanted that in my life right now.
I didn't realize how much I needed it emotionally.
I needed it so bad. Because as in the prequels, which I think is the last time we saw him, as far as like when the movies are released, it was all CG. It was all CG Yoda. And to be honest, it didn't look right. It never looked right to anybody. Because we saw two movies of him in the original trilogy where he was a puppet. He was a Jim Henson puppet, and it was that's just that's what we know Yoda as.
Masters of puppetry, putting together the most realistic puppet that they could.
Yes. Realistic. In quotes, I would say.
Well, he didn't have like felt eyes, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So I think I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I think, and all the Star Wars fans I've talked to about Yoda being in this movie, they've all been very pleased with how he's a puppet.
It's because he looks like himself.
Right.
In the prequels, he never looked like himself, you know?
Right.
I am not going to make a joke about the change in appearance of Mark Hamill between episodes 4 and 5. Never mind.
The point is, like I said before, like how I said, like I didn't know I needed this. I think that's how a lot of people feel about it, especially Star Wars fans, because there's a twinge of familiarity, and you feel comfortable with that Yoda. You know, it's a Yoda of old. It's a Yoda you know and you love, and it felt so great to have him back. And he had some great lines. He did something that Luke thought he wanted to do, which was set fire to everything.
To destroy the last manifestos of the Jedi.
Right, and he came with the message. He came with a message that is very much a Yoda message, and that's you don't need these physical attachments to be Jedi. That's not what it means to be Jedi. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome. It was a perfect Yoda moment. It only lasted a minute or two, but it was I don't know. It was important. I think it's important for a lot of Star Wars fans, and it's one of the more
poignant.
It's one of the more poignant things. That we saw in this movie.
It's one of the most poignant things we've seen in the last two, actually, if you include Rogue One, the last 3 Star Wars movies.
Right. So what's really interesting about this is that there's actually quite a contradiction with Star Wars fans. I don't quite understand it, but it seems like the more CG, the more polished something is, the more they hate it. Let's do a little experiment here. We're going to put up just a few different visual effects, and we're going to get some reactions from the audience here. Let's see how this goes.
Yoda? You seek Yoda? Judge me by my size, you would not.
Do or do not. There is no try. There isn't. There is not. Oh, hi, Luke.
Well, I guess everyone's got their limits.
Number 3. Rey and Kylo's long-distance relationship. This is easily one of the most sensitive and well-done parts of the movie because it's not an elaborate space battle. It's not an amazing spectacle of lightsaber combat. It really is a largely character-driven piece. And the way that they handle interactions between 2 of the main characters, Kylo Ren and Rey, is actually by having them connected by the Force.
I want to say, because there's been a theme throughout the other 2 points we've made about familiarity and about how some of the old movies kind of come into this film a little bit, and this is another example of that because we've seen Force users connect across long distances. Mm-hmm. We just haven't, but what they did was they added a new element to it.
Yes.
Because we've seen them, I feel that Leia's here, I feel that Luke's here. You know, you get those lines from the old movies, but in this one you take it to the next level.
Yes, they're so well connected in this one that there's an element of quantum entanglement, even to where there's like an ocean spray that happens near Rey and it gets on Kylo Ren's face. And it's so interesting and so well done, and they were able to get really great performances out of 2 really good performers.
Right.
Where these where Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley, they're almost never on the same soundstage together.
Right.
And yet the majority of their scenes together is done in this way. And just the way they handled the intimacy of the moments and the way they handled even the sound. I think the sound was amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there was this element to where when you were watching Kylo Ren talk, and then it was very quiet. It was like a whisper. But then
they took away all the background noise.
Yes, yeah. But then when you're hearing Kylo Ren talk and you're inside Rey's scene, it's screaming.
Right.
It is filling her mind, and it filled the ears of the audience.
Right.
And it was just so creative and good, and had so little to do with the spectacle of the movie, and had so much to do with storytelling that you just have to love it.
Right.
Now, going back to the weird quantum entanglement, spray thing, which was a cool thing, because one thing that the new franchise has been doing very well is surprising us with the Force.
Right.
Longtime Star Wars fans feel like they have a really good handle on the way the Force is supposed to work, and every single movie they do something to expand on the idea.
Right.
And the thing about this one is that because they shared so much, including matter in some instances, it makes me wonder what connections we didn't see in the process.
Huh. What do you mean?
I can see you, but I can't see your surroundings. Where are you? Our minds have connected again. Why is this happening? Our destinies are intertwined. It's only natural. Don't fight it. Incredible. It must be clear to you now that I am here to show you your place in all of this. Are you eating something? No. I'm sorry. Keep going. Mm-hmm. It's important for you to understand how wrong the Jedi have been about the Force, how wrong Luke has been about you. Come with me. Together we can... What are you doing? Oh, sorry. Go on.
And that's our show, everybody. We want to thank you for hanging out to the very, very end. We also want to thank our patrons. That, of course, is the Acadiana Humane Society. Remember, adopt, don't buy.
AcadianaHumane.org. And Clamp... Every time! It's Camp Gladiator. And it's campgladiator.com. It's a outdoor fitness club group thing. Go check it out. There's one probably near you.
And as always, we are going to end our show by...
If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you can watch future videos of Quite Contrary.
One more lineage when you're like that. And don't forget to check out the Patreon page.
Don't forget to check on the Padme page. What?
Patreon.
Patreon page?
Don't forget to check out the Patreon page.